This is the future.
What's up, YouTube and Facebook, and welcome to Not Quite Mint. Today we're doing our Keys in Isolation show again, and we're looking at Invincible, a character that both me and Rich have never read, but have read for this show. So we're going to talk about what we've enjoyed, what we haven't enjoyed, his first appearance, his most expensive comic, and some of the covers that we like that we've seen that are in the series. We're also going to talk about our giveaway we've got going on at the moment. So I will pass over to Rich and let's get into it.
That's right. So if you are new to the channel and you want to obviously take part in our giveaway, I'll go through the prizes in a short little while. But basically, make sure that you subscribed, hit the thumbs up, and if you want to take part in the giveaway, you must be all of those things. You can also follow us on the old social medias. That's obviously beneath Tom there. It's worthwhile obviously keeping an eye on their Twitter, Instagram, and obviously also Facebook as well. Some of you might be watching on Facebook, which would be ace. But yeah, make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, and comment in the video comments, hashtag NQM crate giveaway, and we'll enter you that. And then when me and Tom actually managed to get together and do a proper live show in person, hopefully sooner rather than later, what we'll do is we'll put all the names in a pot and we'll draw the winner. Top prize, just to point it out, is this remarked sketch cover.
That's lovely. Who did that?
Would it have been you, Tom?
Yeah, I think it might have been, actually. That looks like one of mine.
So yeah, so obviously check that out. That's top prize, and then we've got like a bundle of comics here that we've randomly selected, but they do, going back, because we started doing this in February, we had two cover and book pick of the month as well. Obviously there's prizes in there as well. They're all modern books pretty much. I think there's maybe a couple of old Action Comics and stuff like that, but yeah, do make sure that you do all those things if you want to take part, guys. So we're Invincible.
We are Invincible.
Like Tom says, I've not read any Invincible. In fairness, I hadn't even got a clue really what Invincible was all about. I don't ever recollect seeing Invincible in a comic shop either before Tom had spoke about this.
You see, I'd seen it and I'd heard of it, and I got what I thought it was completely wrong. So yeah, I was interested because I've seen it before, and I know it's popular with some people. So I was like, oh, I am interested to read this, and I thought, let's do something independent that's not Marvel or DC. Let's do something a bit different. So yeah, I suggested this to Rich. Let's do Invincible, and neither of us were. I have to be honest, I wasn't keen off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my suggestions, because I've read like quite a bit of like The Walking Dead, and it was sort of like, I don't know whether it's still a bit too soon after with the pandemic going on, whether Walking Dead's a bit too soon for some people. So yeah, probably a bit too soon for me. But yeah, I mean, that's what I've really been enjoying, because obviously like we are kind of moving through this lockdown thing, and it's one of the things that, you know, I'm beginning to sense that we need to probably come away from the whole isolation quarantine thing and probably start looking a little bit further forward. But one thing that this Keys in Isolation has enabled us, me and Tom, to do is to read books that we'd never read before. And that's exactly why when you said Invincible, I was like, okay, don't know nothing about it. I'm not too sure. I looked at obviously the first couple of covers of the book, and I was a bit not too keen on the artwork. I don't really know, but it is written by Robert Kirkman,
which is ironic because you said you wanted to read Walking Dead.
Which exactly, this is exactly why I thought, oh, I'll give it a go, because, you know, why not? You know, obviously I'm a big Kirkman fan with Walking Dead. I've got quite a lot of like the single issues in my collection, but I've got pretty much like the first 10 also sort of like obviously trades as well that sort of fill in a lot of the
Oh,
gaps.
haven't you got a Walking Dead Volume 1 compendium signed by Charlie Adler?
Well, funnily enough, Tom, it's funny that you should mention that. But yeah, this is obviously obviously signed by Mr. Adler himself. There you go. So there you go. Merry Christmas, Richard, Mr. Charlie Adler. And where did this come from, Tom?
Well, I think a really nice brother-in-law of yours went to a comic convention called ICE in Birmingham and met Charlie Adler. Yeah.
And then bought something for himself. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But no, so I've got I mean, that was like, you know, I obviously when I got that for Christmas, I was really, really chuffed because we used to watch Walking Dead all together, didn't we?
Yeah, Holly actually got into it.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean, obviously this TV series diverts massively from the comic book, but we're not here to talk about Walking Dead.
Just Robert Kirkman's other baby, which is Invincible.
Right then, so obviously we're talking about Keys of Invincible. Do you want to knock us off and get us started here, mate?
Yeah, so key issue is obviously the first ever Invincible comic. It was obviously his first appearance. It was the first appearance of his father, which is Omni-Man. And it was actually limited quite a few, like a very low run print, really. It was just over 10,000 units were sold of this one. As a raw copy, you can pick this up for $253. If you want a CGC 9.8, sorry, it's a $750 comic. Believe it or not, considering the fact that I bet half the people watching this have never heard of him.
Yeah. That's what I mean. When you said this, I was like, how much is this? The first appearance is going to be. I really did not anticipate anything. So it's one of those ones. I would have probably seen this in a pound bin and not picked it up.
Yeah,
God's honest truth.
Definitely, exactly the same.
So pound bin. If I ever see one of these, I'm going to be so glad of this this actual video that we're doing right here.
It came out in 2003. It's not even that old.
No, well, that's it. Yeah, I can't believe I don't know anything about it, but because this would have come. Ironically, this when I was at when I was at uni until when I stopped, sort of had a bit of a break from collecting. I would have been right. This would have came out right in the middle of when I was like seriously collecting, you know, your Ultimate Spider-Man's, Ultimate X-Men, that kind of era of the Ultimates and all that type of stuff. I would have been about going in comic shops and I never even picked this up. That's what I say. I was really shocked. I was.
Yeah, me too. I to be honest, I remember seeing it on the shelves, and I remember, you know, Sid talking to me about Invincible, but I never got into it because of the fact that I actually honestly thought that it was just a Spider-Man ripoff, but he had Superman's powers. I literally thought he'd been hit by some kind of radioactive bus or something, and you know, he ended up with Superman's powers. But that is not even the story, so I don't even know where that came from, because that's not even his origin.
Yeah, you're right with the Superman powers.
Yeah.
And to an element, the Spider-Man thing, because obviously you've got to explain the premise a little bit widely. It's like basically he is a teenager at school,
hitting puberty.
Yeah, and he effectively one day starts having these powers, and like the way it's written in the comic book's quite clever, because does he fly or something like that? And it's like
he goes to work.
Oh, that's it.
A trash bag straight over the top of the next building.
Yeah, so and his reaction. Well, his reaction is it's about time.
Yeah, but then you don't know what's going on until a little bit later on when it explains who his dad is.
Yeah. So his dad's Omni-Man, who's obviously this book that we've got on screen is the first appearance, and like all of a sudden it becomes abundantly kind of clear that his dad's that effectively marries he marries a human female. His dad hasn't he, Omni-Man, and then they've obviously had our main character here. What's his name actually? I can't remember. Is it Ryan?
Marcus something, but they call him Mark. He's called Mark or Invincible.
Yeah. I thought for some reason I was thinking Mark, and then I went somewhere totally different. But yeah, so and that's the basic premise, and it's got, I suppose that's where the similarities with Spider-Man might come on, because it's high school and all the rest of it. And I thought, but the first issue, if I'm honest, didn't really grab me that much.
No, I'd agree. I would totally agree.
So I was a little bit like, I don't think I'm going to read too much more into this. But we do progress, and probably, obviously, this is his first appearance and everything. But then, if we go to issue 2, which is the next most valuable book, I do believe, is that right?
Yeah, I think probably the next most valuable Invincible book, as it were, like in the series. But the second most valuable book is a variant cover from a different series that he's in.
Yeah. It's which is what will show up in a bit, isn't it? So this is where the story carries on, and he effectively when he's out sort of crime fighting, because obviously once he started getting all these powers, obviously he's a good guy, he wants to go out and do good. And whilst he goes out into the world, he bumps into another superhero group, doesn't he?
Yeah. I've got what they're called.
I can't remember what they're called.
I've gone too far now. I'm like on issue 20, so I've gone a little bit too far and forgotten what all the first bits are.
All the first bits. So he basically obviously then goes out fighting crime, and then bumps into a whole other group of people, and it's quite. I found it quite funny because it has that thing where these heroes don't really wear masks as such, and he sees one of the girl from this other group of superheroes, and he's like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And it's like it just leaves it there, doesn't it? And it's like, well, where does he know her, or is it? You know what I mean? What is it going to be? And it ends up that he's actually in the same biology class, and this other superhero girl, as well as the other members of the group, are like high school kids as well. So that's quite, and I found that quite original. Yeah, I think that's quite original. So after the second issue, I kind of was, I'm into this now.
It's a slow burn, I think.
I think it's a massive slow burn. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting knowing that Kirkman's the writer. I think, watching and seeing how this obviously develops, because I do want to read this, because what I didn't realise is that all of these Invincible books are on my Kindle Unlimited.
Nice.
So I've got that because a lot of the DC trades are on there, because I've got Marvel Unlimited, but for all the Marvel stuff, but it's basically Kindle Unlimited. You get a lot. I can get more of the DC trades, which is why I've got that. So and normal books as well. But so I'm definitely gonna carry on reading this, because I'm really curious now as to where it's gonna go.
I won't spoil it for you, but I think it's it gets to issue 6, and everything changes. It goes from being this kind of happy-go-lucky comic. It's got these little hidden meanings, a little bit adult here and there, and then it's wham! Have a bit of that. Honestly, I didn't even expect it, and there's all sorts. But the only reason I know that it gets good is because after issue 2, I was like, I don't know if I can be asked to stick and read this. So then I sped forward and had a look through the covers that I liked, and I ended up picking issue 60. Have you got it there, the image?
I haven't. Is it one of the ones that you've put up? Is it?
Yes. What's got all the basically? It's got all the image characters on the front.
This one. So yeah. So if we pop this one up, yeah.
I really like the cover. I was like, do you know what? I better read it just so I know what I'm talking about when I get to this. Now, when I open the first panel of this comic, it's Invincible. Obviously, he's a bit more. He's like more adult-ish. He's still a teenager, but he's like in adult mode, and he has just beaten somebody so badly he's got brains on his fist. And I thought, wow. That got dark between issue 1 and 60. This has got dark. Cool. And I thought, oh, wow, okay. So then I read this issue, and what happens in this issue is bonkers. It's brutal, it's bonkers, and it's not for children. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to read how on earth he got to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. I got to issues, I think I'm in issue 20, really enjoying it. Can't believe all the twists and turns. It's been really good. Yeah, I can see why people liked it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I was looking at the covers, and we were sort of like, well, we can't really, because we haven't read it. We haven't really we don't own any of the keys that mean something to us, like a lot of the other keys that we normally talk about at this point. It's kind of like we didn't have that, so it was sort of like, well, you know, let's look at the covers. Let's just try and understand it a bit more. And as soon as I saw this cover, I was like, well, I know why you love this, because you've got Spawn on there. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, Spawn's on a cover. I'm going to have to read this and actually like see where the hell it goes, because it does really interest me. So it's going to be one of my back burner reads, I think. And I think
I'm going to do the same, mate, because this issue has every single Image comic going at the time on the cover, and they're also in it. And if I might be wrong, but some of the things that happen in this comic directly then influenced the next generation of comics, because things happen, and then some of these comics never ever get made again.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's really good.
Oh, cool. I mean, it's one of those ones again. I mean, that's what amazes me. Is like when I saw it was an Image book, and I was like, well, it's obviously relatively popular. Because what issue are they on now? Is it about 140?
Finished. I want to say 200 and something, but it finished a while ago. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, and I saw how many issues.
Yeah.
And then I thought, is this going to be like Spawn, where the issue 1 is you can get a 9/8 for, you know, about £150? I was like, is it going to be that? So I was really shocked to see how low the print runs were on a lot of these books. It's a shame that it's finished now, but still, that it's always going to be popular, I think.
I think so, and I think there's 2 reasons for its popularity. I think because the first 5 issues are easily picked up and read by anybody, that it's a broad horizon, and then I also think because it's got premise to be a movie for secondly, and then sorry, I should have said that. Should have said 3 points, not 2. And then thirdly, I think because of all the controversial stuff that happens in his comic run. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happens in this. You're like, wow, they could not get away with that in comic books these days. I think that's probably why it's going to be a rare one and expensive one to get hold of, really.
That's cool.
Especially because one of the keys that you sent me was like, I cannot believe they've titled it what they titled it. So
yeah, well, I said to you, didn't I? I said I don't really know how. And again, that when I was researching it and like looking at like key issues and stuff, I was a bit like, I'm not sure I really want to read a comic that has this, because it's effective. It's one of the characters called something the Rapist, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I don't understand the context. Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about a comic, but obviously I haven't read that story and all the rest of it. But from what you said, and I'm now really, really curious, having read what I have so far, which is only like the first 5 or 6 issues, actually how this develops, especially on your feedback as well.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, the best way I think I can describe this as a book so far is that you're going through from his perspective, you're going through his emotional changes as he gets to adulthood. So you start off with him before he hits puberty, where everything's like la 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 la, everything's fine, I've got no worries. He hits puberty, he ends up with his superpowers. He's now thinking about girls. He doesn't know where he's going in life. His dad's a superhero. He doesn't know what that's all about. Then something happens to him that's quite tragic, and it goes from there. It's kind of like, now how do I deal with this? I'm now, late teens, early adulthood. Then I think it's going to be, I've not read any further than that, so it's definitely going to then be early adulthood, and then it's going to be adulthood, which I really like the idea of. It's like at each stage it's going to get darker and more relatable and stranger, and I don't know, I really like it, to be honest.
Okay, cool. Well, definitely, I think it's one of those ones that, like, again, I want to, when we come out of this whole like lockdown period and everything, I've like completely changed my pull list. Like, so I don't want to be, because I've read so much. Like, I've read Silver Age and all the rest of it, and I've actually spent my comic money on other books, like not new books, older books. I'm all about going through back issues and collecting these more obscure titles as well. I mean, it's a hell of a lot more interesting than walking into your comic book shop, whether it be Forbidden Planet or an independent LCS, and it's like it's just wall to wall variant covers, and you're like,
I think there's something to be said, about what's been circulating the industry for quite a while now in the last couple of months, before the lockdown even, like, so you're probably talking last year, when they're talking that Marvel and DC have essentially saturated the market with so many titles. I mean, how many titles has Batman got? He's got like 4 or 5 titles. Mm-hmm. Superman's got 4 or 5 titles. Spider-Man's got at least 6 titles. And it's like, per character, you don't really need that many titles. So, and the fact that there aren't that many key issues within those titles, it's kind of like, do I get them? Don't I get them? So I totally agree, mate. I think my pull list is completely changed. I think I'm going to stick to 1 or 2 that I totally love, like Venom and Batman and the X-Men. I'll probably stick to those. But I actually would like to go back and reread old school stuff. And I think we should definitely keep up with these previous keys of previous characters and titles. Yeah. And if you guys out there totally agree with me, then let us know in the comments. If you want to see more of us talking about stuff we have no idea about that we've just decided to read, and give you our feedback of what we feel like, whether it's a decent read or not, then please let us know what you think.
Yeah, I think as well, like, knowing how we it's understanding what's collectible and things like that. And as I've like came back into comics over the last couple of years and probably looked at it in a bit more of a mature manner, and think because we both own houses, we've got to think what we're spending our money on. It's sort of like I've looked at it, and I obviously had that recent clear out, as you have, of a load of back issues of comics that are literally like they're never going to be a key, and they're you spend good money on like some of these things, and they're cool at the time, but they end up being pretty much worthless kind of thing. Something would be interesting. Yeah,
I made the big mistake years ago of, like, when I first started collecting it on cover value, like looking at the cover and going, oh, that's cool artwork, I'll get that. Yeah. And I've got so many comics now that are, at the time, I would have bought for £2, £3, that are now worth probably less than 50 pence, and it's really aggravating more than anything. Yeah. But I have got, within my collection, I have got some amazing super keys that I've managed to pick up over.
Yeah, I mean, you as I say, that's what I say. I think as we move forward, for me, because we used to obviously review virtually every single key that came out in a week. My view is to do a show a bit more like this, where it's like we'll talk about that week's keys, but maybe like a top 5 that are actual, proper first appearances, proper first issues, something that that's something, not a key because it's a variant of a certain artist or whatever. That's not where my collecting would go at all. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, and as I say, and then I think we still have like a bit of a spotlight like this where because it just keeps your mind open. I think
Absolutely.
I've really
I would
enjoyed
never
it.
have read this if it hadn't been for lockdown. I would never have read it.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, it's like, you know, I know you enjoy doing your drawings as well for the thumbnails and all of that kind of stuff for obviously the, you know, the Not Quite Mint print stuff and everything, and I think we definitely carry that on 100%. So the next book though that we've got, I won't do the Marvel one. I will do this one. Now I don't know much about this one.
Yeah, I don't know much about this one, but this is the second most valuable comic with him in as Invincible, and it is a variant cover by Darwin Cook, who I believe is quite a substantial name in the art industry. This is a one shot that simulates the Invincible series, but it's like a bit more of a kind of a backstory issue on him before he got his powers, like give you a bit of an idea of who he was as a child, sort of thing. But it precedes issue 71, which apparently is quite a substantial issue. So this is kind of like he goes away and he comes back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, all I picked up on this one was that it was a 1 in 10 retailer variant cover. But the book itself was a one shot, and it came out in 2010. And it's you know, you can, if you want to get this particular variant, as you say, as a standalone raw copy, it's about $150, I think, somewhere like that. With this particular cover, yet I think you can pick up the standard Invincible returns for about $7, like the standard cover. So
yeah, if you just want to read it,
yeah. So it is quite a cool key, and like you say, it's sort of like in the middle of that, but it's one of those ones like what we've just spoke about, where this is an example where those, you know, a variant cover can actually be like pretty sought after, but again, it's going to be because of run.
It's like I've got an Amazing Spider-Man. I can't remember what issue it is now. That's going to drive me mad. But I've got an Amazing Spider-Man where the variant cover is literally just the Lizard, but it's drawn by J. Scott Campbell. But it's a 1 in 1,000 variant cover, and actually there was a very low print run anyway. So it is massively sought after, and it's worth so much more than the normal one. But the normal one's not a key at all.
Yeah, double, but you get double bubble. I mean, I've found that recently. Like, I've been looking around at sort of like these, you know, if you've got a key issue and then they've done like, you know, a 1 in 50 or a 1 in 25 variant. So I don't know, say like if you look at the most recently, even like the Rise of Kylo Ren books, I wish I would have bought the I wish I would have collected all the variant covers, because I think there were about 4 variant covers for each of those issues. But oh my god! And I saw them when I bought the standard issues, and I saw them, and they were about 15 quid, and I thought, oh, is it going to be any good? Shall I get it? Shall I not? And I didn't, and they're worth like, you know, 4 or 5 times, you know, what I would have paid then. You know, they're like, you know, £100 books now. Like, so it's it does go to show that there is a place for it every now and again, but just be careful. Like, and we've only got one more book to talk about, haven't we, mate? But this one kind of blew my mind a little bit, because
I didn't know this. I had no idea this happened, and I collected Marvel Team Up.
Yeah,
I don't know how I missed this issue, but
it's not going to cost you very much money if you do want it.
No, it's a $12. It's a $12 book, so it's not breaking the bank. But then it's still more than it was for cover price. Yeah.
Which again says, you know, sound investment if you've kept it in good condition.
But this is the first appearance of Invincible in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
apparently, I've not read it, and I would like to, and I'm definitely going to read it. He gets into a scrap. He gets punched through some kind of wormhole, and he ends up in the Marvel universe teaming up with Spider-Man, which is ironic because he basically is the Image version of Spider-Man.
Yeah, except he hasn't got webs and he's not fly made. So, but yeah.
Actually, that just reminded me, when you get into the story, Rich, you come across a group of superheroes. When you watch it, they are identical rip-offs of the Justice League. How they've got away with it, I have no idea. It's amazing.
Well, I thought like the group that Invincible meets in whatever the first issue or whatever it was, I thought that group was a little bit Fantastic Four-ish.
There's so many things that happen in the Invincible that are like, oh, I can't believe you've just done that or said that. There's a reference at one point where he talks about the outfit and he's like, I designed this costume, but it's a bit too Fantastic Four for you, really. So, I mean, their outfits aren't that good. So let's make it a bit better. It's like, oh, did you just have a dig at Fantastic Four? Amazing.
I like it, but yeah, as I say, I think from what I've read so far, it's one of those, like you say, it definitely feels like it's a slow burn, but because of how you spoke about it, because of the research that I did, and some of obviously the controversial issues that they're going to cover, I'm really interested to see how they evolve the story, because so far the first 6 issues are very origin kind of story based.
It's very build up, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's very nice, and oh god, I'm using that word nice again. Or it's lovely. It's lovely. I haven't used that for a while. I haven't called something lovely for a while.
But we'll have that next week because we're doing Wonder Woman.
But yeah, so it's one of those that it goes to show that you can read these things, and it can open your mind to just trying things out. And I will, again, because it's going to be free, technically free on my Kindle Unlimited subscription. We are not sponsored in any way by them, but I'll be able to read it. Yeah, I wish we were sponsored by somebody like that. It'd be bloody brilliant. But yeah, and as Tom says, next week it'll be this sort of time on Tuesday. We're going to do Wonder Woman, aren't we? So
we do Wonder Woman.
Now, yeah, not to plug that too much, but again, I've got some reading to do because I've only ever read one Wonder Woman book, and it was that lovely anniversary issue. Yeah,
anniversary issue.
No, it's got I don't know why, but I've always read more Marvel than DC anyway. So
yeah, same mate. I've only ever read more Marvel than DC, but I've always been because I watched Justice League Unlimited. I've always been drawn towards the major characters in DC.
Yeah,
so Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. Yeah,
and then I actually really like Wonder Woman, and I did like the movie too. To be fair.
It's a good shout, mate. I'm looking forward to it again because obviously I love.
I don't think Donny Cates does any writing for Wonder Woman.
Just hay fever and being too sleepy, but I obviously really enjoy the Wonder Woman film. I'm not. They're not the best films, but obviously the whole Justice League films and the whole crossover element of that, I like all of that. So Wonder Woman's going to be interesting next week, definitely. So that's going to be good.
Absolutely, mate.
And I don't know when we'll do it, but at some point we'll obviously have our sort of next show will be just obviously catching up with bits and bobs that we've been reading, but we're a little bit behind this week because we obviously honoured the blackout last night, obviously, and all that, but we're not a political show. So but yeah, we just thought we'd do that as a show of respect. So we'll get back to our normal Tuesdays and Thursdays next week.
Yeah,
and we'll see what we do about the Thursday show.
So keep an eye on the Instagram and the Twitter to find out. And Facebook. Keep an eye on.
We might do it. We might just do it tomorrow, but yeah, it's we'll see. Check on the old availability and stuff, and the fact that I haven't actually read anything other than Invincible this week. It's a bit of
Talk about Invincible then. Let's scrap the show. Don't listen. Don't watch anymore. Turn it off.
That's it. So, but just to obviously plug that again, guys. Obviously, once me and Tom have our first sort of post-lockdown live stream in hopefully not too long now. Hopefully within the next month or so, do take part in our giveaway. Tilt it. You might win, obviously, Tom's original sketch art for Thor there. That's the Donny Cates Thor. I'm not going to yawn or anything or cry. And then just obviously, just so you can see, these are the issues that we're going to give away. They were randomly chosen from our little box.
If you want to see them be randomly chosen, go back to our second Coffee and Contemplation show.
That's right, yeah. So if you do want to check out our other videos and obviously go back in time, you'll see those being randomly drawn. And obviously those were the books of the month for February. Yeah, really good books there. So do take part. Hashtag NQM Crate giveaway down in the comments below. And obviously keep watching us. Make sure you subscribed. Follow us on obviously all the social media. And that would be fantastic. So thanks ever so much for watching. As always, guys, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next time.
Yeah, I'm going to say stay home, stay safe, look after each other, keep reading comics, and see you.